talking this evening with Mayor Dan Pelchat, talking a little bit about the impact of COVID and the coronavirus on the community here within South Lyon. So welcome, Dan. Good to have you here.
Thank you, Steve. Always a pleasure to join our friends over at the Cable Commission, and a pleasure to speak with you tonight.
Great. Thank you. Thank you. Well, let's just start out with the very first question of, how you've been able to get out and interact with the community. Obviously, maybe not in person, but what are you hearing on the ground as far as the residents are concerned and the business owners? What's the general mood out there right now?
It's there's fatigue from the length of this process. I feel like the residents, from our essential employees to those that have been home, everyone's answered the call. Mm-hmm. The concern has now seemed to shift, and we need to still be taking precautions for health and safety. But we're trying to turn the focus to how can we be there, and what do we need to be there for to provide for the small businesses to try and get back on their feet.
Right. And what percentage of the small businesses in town have completely closed down? Now, obviously, I think some of the Kroger and Wendy's and so forth, a number of those are still open, but perhaps some of the main downtown area businesses, do you know what the percentage of the businesses that are shut down? Is it maybe 20, 30% or about half?
I'd hate to speculate, but if I was going to throw a number out there, I would imagine it's definitely probably near half, possibly right. More. I mean, if you haven't been labeled as an essential business, those folks had to weigh the option, like some of our restaurants in town that we saw try to do it at first, saw that it may not be worth it financially, and then now they're trying to kind of re-gear with a little bit more of a adapted game plan, right, to make the most out of the hours they're open and in those employees that they have there. So it's been a little bit of an uptick this week with some of our businesses reopening, which is great. Really, the main concern that I've been hearing from some of our local businesses isn't hitting the minimum for the PPE and the health and safety of their employees. It's being assured that they can access accountable PPE from folks. Yes, I have enough to open this week, but I don't have a pipeline that can be counted on. And so that's something that we are working hard with the county with. We are hearing some rumblings of some hopefully like kind of step one packages for our small businesses coming from the county really soon. I don't have a date on that, but I have talked to Phil Weipert, our county commissioner, who's a great advocate for our community, and he's keeping me in the loop on that. And as soon as we have any sort of information for those, we'll be getting it out as soon as possible.
Great, good to hear. Now, obviously, one of the very first things we did, we kind of shut down City Hall as far as to the public and so forth. But how have the city employees adapted to these restrictions being in place around COVID-19? And what have you seen as one of the biggest challenges?
So that's a fantastic question, because as much as we've grown, everyone still has that small town feeling here. Our employees at the city have not batted an eyelash at any of this, whether we were, trying to stagger schedules or, only one person in a car for DPW and rotating schedules at wastewater treatment, so we, in the unfortunate situation that someone got sick over there, everyone wasn't taken off the board, and then all of a sudden we don't got folks that are running the wastewater treatment plant. So they have answered the bell, each and every one of our departments, whether that's our first responders with the police, fire, our wastewater and DPW, and our administration has made it so while there's been some speed bumps behind the scenes, hopefully a majority of our citizens haven't really had much of an impact in city services, thanks to, in part, how incredible the staff has been on just answering the call.
Right. And that was one question I had was, have there been any issues with the city services? Now, I know, living here where I live, I know some of the I think the yard waste pickup was delayed for a couple of weeks. Now, I actually got mine in the week that they were open, and then the following week they were shut down, but I think that's back open as well. But beyond that, have you noticed any other hiccups at all as far as city services? Again, water continues to flow, and the roads and so forth seem to be in good condition as far as a typical spring is. But anything else that you've noticed from city services being impacted?
You nailed it, Steve. And truly, had we not been on the Monday, Tuesday schedule for that yard waste thing, that was something that came from our contractors.
Right.
They had decided that they were going to delay yard waste pickup, and then they decided to change their mind later that week. And so we did miss a week. But other than that, and knock on wood, I'm very superstitious over here, but, we've been able to avoid anything major, at least so far, to any serious stoppages in any sort of city services, which I'm incredibly proud of
That's great.
everyone from top to bottom.
Great to hear. And speaking of hearing, what are you hearing from county and state government, either on the trend of infections or on starting to open up portions of businesses, churches, and other organizations? What are you hearing yourself from the government?
So the state has been, obviously they're doing the best they can. In our situation here, being tucked away in the little corner of Oakland County, we've been dealing, us at least, the city of South Lyon, more hand in hand with the county, more so than the state. I know some of our departments are working with, making sure they're tracking the funds that have been going towards the, relief, and we may get some money back from the state on that down the road. Sure. But really, our closest interactions have been with the county, and Oakland County's done a very nice job, I feel. This is a really tough situation that obviously the country hasn't been through in over 100 years, right. And a lot of things have changed in 100 years. So, I applaud the county. I applaud everyone that we've been working with. The state's doing the best they can, obviously, in trying to make sure people are safe. But, our basic needs and impact have been with the county mostly.
Yeah. Okay. And kind of speaking of the local impact, how many cases have we had here in South Lyon?
So if that's something that anyone that's watching this is curious to be able to follow on a day-to-day basis, if you go to oaklandcounty.gov or oak.gov, they have a tracker for your zip code in the county. And right before we went on this evening, I was just checking the numbers. They were last updated at noon on May 14th, 2020. We had 74 confirmed cases in the mailing zip code. And sadly, we've had 7 fatalities in the community as well. And
right.
So if that's something that's people want to be able to track, you can get that information. Usually they have a daily update on that at the county, on the county's website.
Yeah. And do you know, can they break down the information as far as when those infections occurred and when the deaths occurred and so forth? Or are there some other ability to kind of drill down a little bit on the data for those who are data interested?
Right. There may be, Steve. I was just kind of focused on, I've been monitoring our friends in the township's mailing address and our friends over at the edge there in Northville, and just kind of taking that as a community gauge, as folks that may be interacting in our community and then going back home, or vice versa. And I feel like we've been incredibly fortunate because some of the numbers that, as you start to go a little bit further east from there, are pretty staggering. Right,
exactly. So, and then just in general as well, I know I kind of asked this up front, but how have the local businesses who perhaps have stayed open, how are they doing? I know a lot of them have been very involved in outreach. So not only are they simply just trying to serve the community and feeding them, but I know different places like Hungry Howie's and Elecos have been out there very active in serving those on the front line. So, but what's been kind of the business element of that, or the organizations, how are they holding up?
If I were to be honest with you, I've got to imagine it's quite a struggle out there. You mentioned a couple of the local businesses doing great things for our first responders and helping folks out. But I got to imagine even those that are doing very well with the social media and takeout or curbside service, I got to imagine that things are pretty bad over there.
Right. And so kind of an encouragement for those who are watching, if you are local here, and you are able to get out in the perhaps a less exposed age range and so forth. If you can, get a business, send some business over to our local businesses and engage with them, not just now, but obviously even going forward. After we get past this coronavirus, shopping local, dealing with local businesses is always a great thing to, again, help spur those who are your neighbors here within South Lyon.
Well, I mean, and not to be selfish, but it keeps the money in the community.
Right.
And a lot of these folks at these businesses have done a lot of great things. And I saw a post several people had put up in town, and they're absolutely right. You know, these are the businesses that have been helping out the high school softball team, or, you know, the cross country team, or even, you know, someone's travel baseball team that, you know, is from South Lyon. And these folks are going to need our help, and it's not going to be a 1 or 2 week thing. And, you know, I would encourage folks that if you need something, start that search here locally if you can. And by locally, I mean the township, Green Oak and Lyon, all those folks. You know, their money is spent here in the city as well. So,
right.
And if you can't find it there, then obviously you extend out to beyond that. But, you know, it is good to remind folks that we have a lot of incredible small businesses here that provide a lot of services. And if you can start here, please do.
Yep, agree. Totally agree. So, Dan, Mayor Dan, any other thoughts you have that you'd like to share here with the South Lyon community?
You know, I'm just really incredibly proud of how everyone, you know, has come together as a community. Whether that's you know, our friends over at the school district, you know, providing food for folks each and every week on Wednesdays, and, you know, or you know, like I mentioned earlier, our staff at the city has really just answered the call. Our essential employees that are working on the front lines and live in the community, you know, we're incredibly grateful for you and proud of you as well. And this is one of those things where, you know, it's going to change us all. And so coming together, united front here, and working together for the better of the community is a message that we're going to continue to bang that drum until we defeat this thing.
Agree. Totally agree. Well, Mayor Pelchat, I really appreciate your time this evening. Again, make sure when you do see or interact with talk with your employees, let them know that we here as a community are very appreciative for all the time and effort that they're putting in right now. It's a very challenging time, and you as well. Thank you so much for coming out this evening, and I hope you enjoy your evening here and your upcoming weekend.
Thank you. And if Steve, I do got one more thing I'd like to add, and this is very important for our local small businesses, and I'm sorry for omitting this earlier. We have started a task force to try and assist local businesses through the Chamber of Commerce, through Kensington Valley. And so if you are a small business in the area and you are looking for help, or you need feedback on what we can do to help you, it is a Facebook page we have started. It is called Lyon Business Group COVID-19 Response and Recovery. So if you can search for that, again, I'll say it one more time, Lyon Business Group COVID-19 Response and Recovery. That's going to get you in touch with some of our friends over at the township, Andrea Meyer through the Kensington Chamber of Commerce. And we're just trying to help get that beginning information out to our small businesses in any way to help them. So I would encourage you to join that group if you could.
Good to know. Great. All right. Great. Thanks so much, Mayor Dan.
Thank you. Take care, Steve.